Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is brought to you by our friends at Fangoria Magazine. That's right, the first name in fright since 1979 is now an affiliate of America's Hometown Horror. And because of that, we can now offer you an exclusive 20% discount on any first-time magazine subscription or merchandise purchase by heading over to shop.fangoria.com and using the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout. That's shop.fangoria.com/HometownHorrorPod, or just use the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout for that exclusive discount on anything from Fangoria. Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is also brought to you by our friends at Horror Facts Magazine. Never heard of Horror Facts Magazine? Well, if you're a horror fan, they're a name that you absolutely should know. You can find them over at horrorfacts.com, and they're a great resource for all things horror, including news, reviews, editorials, and lots of other horror podcasts, not only limited to, but including America's Hometown Horror. So head on over to horrorfacts.com and check them out. Last but certainly not least, if you want to support America's Hometown Horror directly, I would highly recommend you get yourself some tickets to the Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention, which will be taking place at Mayflower Brewing Company in lovely Plymouth, Massachusetts for the first time on October 28th of this year. Yes, that's right, folks, the Saturday before Halloween. We're partnering with our friends over at Inebriart to put this event on, and you can buy yourself some tickets by going to inebriart.com, go to their events page, pull up their October calendar, and get yourself some $5 tickets to the Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention, which is now sponsored by HalloweenNewEngland.com. HalloweenNewEngland.com is the website for the truly Halloween-obsessed, with the most extensive guides to New England haunted houses, ghost tours, classic horror film screenings, jack-o'-lantern festivals, haunted hayrides, and more. They've got all the thrills covered throughout September and October. With over 2,500 Halloween events on their events calendar and hundreds of local Halloween attractions, it's the only place you'll find everything from haunted history tours and costume contests to witch haunts are open on a Thursday night. No matter what you're looking for this Halloween season, HalloweenNewEngland.com has you covered, and we are thrilled to be partnering with them. Now, let's get on with the show. Hello, good evening, and welcome into another episode of America's Hometown Horror Podcast. Happy October to you, listener, and I say to you, good evening. Thanks so much for checking back in with us. During spooky season, we know there are a lot of horror podcasts out there, so we certainly appreciate you listening to us and hearing what we have to say about the movies that we love and the things that we like to do. So anyway, if you like the way that we sound, or we have sounded, I should say, over the last couple of months, that's a hat tip to our buddy at Shawno over at Skywheel Media, who's now producing our audio and doing all of our music. Shawno, heyo. And if you have a podcast that you'd like to get taken to the next level in terms of sound quality, get in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with Skywheel Media. And if you like the show enough to follow us on social media, you can find us on our website, ahpod.com. It's ahhpod.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Twitter is now called X. I'm not going to call it that. Just search for America's Hometown Horror. You'll find us. You can also email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. And now is as good of a time as any to introduce my fellow co-hosts. It's the original three amigos yet again tonight, because unfortunately Matt is off. Andrew, Cat, Lady, Gentleman, hello, and good offerings to the Halloween gods.
Good evening. What's up?
What's going on?
What's up?
I'm annoyed. My nose is stuffed, and I can just hear my nose whistling, but it's so faint that no one else can hear it.
Oh, that's you? I can hear it. Yeah. I thought that was me.
Insane. I'm like, oh my God, I can just hear it in my left ear, and I'm like,
Well,
so bad.
I thought my nose was making that
No,
noise.
it's my noise whistling.
Oh.
It's just
your noise whistling. I hope that your noise clears up
my
for you.
noise.
Hope your
My
noise
noise nose.
Andrew,
That doesn't happen.
you or it was Matt that hosted last week, right? When Kat and I were away. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, he did a very good job too. Good job, Matthew.
First episode that I have not been on since our daughter was born, and I think you, Matt, and a few other people talked, and Hannah talked about the new Hellraiser remake last year, right?
Yep.
That was the last episode that I was not on.
And then Justin was on Event Horizon.
That's correct.
Almost a year to the date.
Kat was not on that one, but I think you were. Maybe.
Me, I think it was me, you,
Matt, and Justin. Yeah, that was a good one too. But yeah, it's I feel like it's been forever since we recorded, so it's good to be back in studio. Kat and I had a lovely trip up to Vermont, which is the only New England state I'd never been in all of my 37 years of living. So we conquered. We had a good time, right?
Yes, we had a very good time.
Yeah. Vermont, Stowe, Vermont, I should say. Very good time. Unfortunately, not much to be had in terms of spooky things, but it's certainly a very nice place for vacation stuff. I would imagine that there's a lot of haunted stuff up there, but there were certainly not very many haunted offerings or spooky things up there.
Did have a lantern night tour, which I'm sure probably had some spooky things that I saw that we didn't really look into, but they definitely did a lantern haunted tour. So I wonder if there's more to it than we actually did.
More than meets the eye, perhaps.
Yes, lanterns in the mist.
Well, we've done lanterns in Plymouth, so
certainly have.
We have lanterns all over the place.
We certainly did do lanterns in Plymouth, and we did lanterns in New Orleans, which was the best one of all. I think of all the haunted tours, New Orleans was very good. But yeah, Stowe, Vermont, I'd recommend highly. A very nice vacation spot. If you have a family and a dog that you'd like to take up there, we certainly had a good time. Andrew.
I don't have either. I don't have either. Should I go to Stowe?
You don't have either. You can still go to Stowe. It's a lot of fun. You just might feel like after 9 o'clock, there's really not much for you to do.
Yeah. I don't think I'm good there. Now my seat's making noises and I'm getting freaking out.
It's a leisurely trip. Leisurely. Everyone is on vacation there, and everyone is taking
their sweet ass time. It is like the most New England town ever because everything takes fucking forever. Whatever coffee shop you go in, oh my God, it takes forever. Even Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts.
You know what grinds my
fucking
going
gears?
On vacation and people taking too long.
Yeah, people acting like they're on vacation. Like, no, I still want to get my coffee. And
that's the hardest thing to do is to shut off the everyday vibes to vacation vibes. No. You're like, oh, I'm on vacation. It's just relaxing. You're like, get the fuck out of the way. I want my ice cream cone, damn it.
See, that I feel like I can easily do if I'm in a tropical place. You just live slower.
Yeah. Not in a New England
place.
No. Like, come on. Get with the program here, folks. Nope. But anyway, I'm sure there are a lot of fun, spooky things to do in Vermont that I'd like to visit someday. But yeah, still Vermont, good time. And as always, spooky season keeps on rolling, baby, now that we're all back and recording another episode. And a reminder that the Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention is less than 2 weeks away from this recording. Whenever you hear it, it will still be less than 2 weeks away from this recording, but it might be less than that. We shall see. And you can certainly get some tickets for that event at Inebriart's webpage. Just go to inebriart.com, go to their events page, and $5 tickets are available. You can also upgrade those tickets if you feel so inclined. And guys, hey, and another thing that you can buy for Halloween fun stuff, McDonald's Boo Buckets are back.
They are.
They certainly are.
I didn't know that.
They're not. You don't know that.
They're not No. That was all me last year.
I don't look at the menu. I just
it was all me. I was the one obsessed with finding them all. I only found one. These ones this year are newly designed. It's not the old school design. So they are new.
Boo.
McDonald's Boo Buckets for a new generation, if you will. So I'm all on board with that. Anyway, I want to talk some news. I got a couple things that we wanted to run through real quick before we get into our watch list stuff and get into tonight's movie. Cool with that?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. All right, guys, I don't know if you heard about this, but all right. So we talked about, I think we at least covered the 2018 Halloween reboot, requel, remake movie that came out. The one directed by David Gordon Green that brought back Jamie Lee Curtis and all the original stars. And it was actually okay. They did a new trilogy. Those movies were not as good, although I did like Halloween Ends than most people. I'm on record for that. Listen to our 2022 year-end horror top 10 list. You'll find out that I am correct, but it turns out that Halloween has in fact not ended. The rights for the Halloween property were up for bid, and they went to Miramax, the company formerly owned by Harvey Weinstein. I think now still owned by one of the Weinsteins, probably Bob Weinstein, if I had to guess. And they're going to do a Halloween TV series. I guess the rights, the final two bidders for the Halloween rights, by the way, this is very interesting. Talk about two completely different companies. It was between Miramax and A24 to direct new Halloween stuff. Thoughts, you guys?
Probably won't watch it.
Yeah.
Could care less about a TV show for Halloween. Like, I mean,
I'm going to watch it. You're going to watch it.
Maybe.
Well, let me ask you this. So
set.
When you think about the two different companies that were bidding for this, A24 versus Miramax, Miramax clearly, I would imagine, based on their reputation, was trying to do something more straightforward slasher with Halloween. A24 would have been so much more interesting.
Oh, it would have been. I would have actually considered watching it if it was A24.
Right.
I don't need to watch another Miramax movie.
Yep.
I mean, I'd probably watch it.
So here's the quote from Deadline. Quote, Miramax Television has signed a wide-ranging deal with Trancas, the name of the person who owned the rights, I guess, to develop and co-produce a Halloween TV series, which also includes a first-look agreement on other television projects, for the international marketplace. And to that, I just say, oh, God, can't we just let it go away for a few years? Like, do we really need more Halloween stuff right now? I know people love Michael Myers.
It's a franchise that everyone loves.
Right.
They're going to make money off of it, regardless if it's good or bad. It's going to make money. So why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, I know. It's
like The Walking Dead going on for way too many seasons. It's because it's just popular.
Walking Dead, I don't even want to get started on because they did something so stupid recently. I'm not even going to get into it. But anyway, the Halloween rights are now owned by Miramax. So expect to see more stuff for Halloween. I wish Matt was here to talk about this because I know he also, Andrew, I know you don't really care for the Halloween franchise aside from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. So it'd be tough for you to comment on this. I know Matt holds the Halloween franchise in high regard, loves a lot of the sequels. So I'd be interested to hear what he has to say. Hopefully he's back next week. Anyway, so there's more Halloween on the way and, do with that what you will. Guys, we also got a synopsis of the new Treehouse of Horror episode from The Simpsons. Would you guys like to hear what it's about?
Why don't we just watch it when it comes out?
Well, it's not coming out until after Halloween. They're doing their usual Simpsons thing where they put it out on like November 5th, which is when this episode's coming out this year. Which is kind of
why?
I don't know. Simpsons have actually made fun of that before in the past. There's at least a few episodes where people are like, I think Kang and Kodos were like, why is this a Halloween episode airing in November? It doesn't make any sense. Well, but they continue to do it because I guess, I don't know. Maybe that's contractually where they're obligated to start their new seasons.
Maybe there's a lot of Halloween parties on Halloween.
Yeah, weekends. I mean, they probably want to air it when people are most going to watch it. I feel like Treehouse of Horror episodes have to be their most watched episodes of the season, right? Like nobody really watches The Simpsons, the new episodes anymore. I don't know anybody that does.
I'll throw it on TV if it's on TV.
Sure, if there's nothing else on.
But I'm not going to intentionally throw on The Simpsons.
I don't go with Sunday night. I got to put on The Simpsons.
Yeah, right. It's football or something. So anyway, the main lead for this episode of Treehouse of Horror is that they're doing a spoof of The Silence of the Lambs, where Lisa is going to play Clarice, and let's see. I don't think they've revealed who is going to be playing the villain quite yet, but let's see. Actually, maybe it would be Maggie. That'd actually be pretty funny. So it's Treehouse of Horror 34. So 34 seasons of The Simpsons. Actually, more than that because there was no Treehouse of Horror in season 1 of The Simpsons. I think or the first 2. So this might be season 36 because there was no Treehouse of Horror in the first 2 seasons.
Who do you think
started in season 3?
I think it'd be funny if Smithers was.
That'd be really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, just weak ass Smithers.
Who do you think plays Anthony Hopkins?
God. It's probably like Krusty the Clown or something.
Krusty would also be a good one. I think Flanders would be a good one. Mo would be a good one. There's like a lot of characters.
Groundskeeper Willie.
Groundskeeper Willie would be awesome. Yeah, so I guess they're doing a Silence of the Lambs parody. It looks like there's another one with like multiverse stuff with Homer, and there's also like a Bitcoin parody one. So the only straightforward horror adaptation they're doing is Silence of the Lambs, which I thought was pretty cool. So we'll see how it turns out on Treehouse of Horror 34.
Surprising that they haven't done that before.
Right? I mean, I feel like that'd be one of the first horror movies that you do, given the popularity of Silence of the Lambs at the same time of the height of popularity of The Simpsons, early to mid 90s, I would think, which I don't know. I can't say. All right. So that's what I got for news, unless anyone else has anything they want to bring up before we move on to our next section here.
Nope.
Good. All right.
Happy belated birthday, Michael.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes. Happy birthday to you.
37 years young. It's been a fun 37 years. I'd like to thank all the little people I stepped on to get here throughout 37 years. So thank you very much. Before we get into our next thing, which is watch list stuff, and I know I have a couple things I want to talk about. Why don't we take a quick little break here and pay some bills? We'll be right back. And we're back. We talking watch list. We're going to be talking a movie in a little bit. It's going to be a lot of fun. You should totally stick with us throughout the entire thing. Guys, I know it's spooky season. There are a lot of new horror things coming out. I have one particular thing that I know we can all talk about. Actually, 2 things that I think we can all talk about. Would anybody else like to talk about anything else other than VHS 85 or The Fall of the House of Usher before we get into those things? Kat, watch anything?
No.
More Jersey Shore?
I don't even think I watched. No, because we've been on vacation.
I know, we've been on vacation. We actually didn't watch as much. We did watch Hocus Pocus on vacation. We watched The Shining on vacation.
We watched Nightmare Before Christmas.
We did. We watched Nightmare Before Christmas.
I feel like on vacation's not the time to watch something you haven't seen.
Well, again, when you're going on vacation with a baby and a dog, and you're at your Airbnb by 8 o'clock. No,
well, we did watch part of VHS 85.
Well, we're going to talk about that because I finished it. Andrew watched the whole thing.
I didn't finish it. Yep. I don't really need to finish it. What else did we watch?
That's pretty much
that was it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Fall of the House of Usher.
Which we started that. Yep. Beyond that, no, we didn't watch a ton of TV.
Yeah, that's okay.
In general, which was good. I mean,
that's
I'm fine with that.
I was wondering if you had anything else outside of the things that we've watched together. Okay,
well, still Andrew? 6 hours of content.
Yeah, still a lot.
Depending on how many episodes you watch.
Yep. Right.
Andrew,
but no, I haven't watched anything else besides that.
Wow. You guys made it easy for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we talk about these two things? This actually is a really good segue. All right, so why don't we lead off with some TV? Fall of the House of Usher, which is the new Netflix series from Mike Flanagan. And I've been looking forward to this one for a while because I love Edgar Allan Poe stuff. Always have, always loved his stories. One of the coolest haunted houses I've ever been through in my entire life was the first vacation Kat and I took together, and we went to Universal's Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando, and there was an Edgar Allan Poe haunted house. I don't know if you even remember that. It was 12, 13 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, maybe.
No, I don't remember.
It was a good haunted house, though. So I love Edgar Allan Poe stuff. I even loved that stupid show on Fox, The Following, with Kevin Bacon.
Can we also talk about how we went to the Edgar Allan Poe Museum?
We went to the Edgar Allan Poe Museum.
In Virginia? Yep.
We did. So
and
all three of those things. Yep. Every single person that sees the Edgar Allan Poe sticker in my cooler is like, what do you like?
Remember there was a black cat there that lived there?
What's up with that? There was actually a black cat at the Edgar Allan Poe Museum. I feel like they keep the cat there as a thing, as a reference. Yeah, that
was a cool place though.
Yeah, but Fall of the House of Usher, directed by Mike Flanagan. It is a modern adaptation of multiple of Edgar Allan Poe's stories. And Andrew, you had actually watched this before Kat and I had, and you were immediately like, "Yeah, I am all in on this." Which I have to say, so you are typically a guy that watches the first few episodes of a TV show and then it's like, you know what? I just didn't finish it. Lost my attention. Is this one that you're going to stick through to the end? Are you finished?
So. I'm halfway through, so I should finish it off.
It's 8 episodes, by the way. So you're 4 in. Okay. We're only 2 in.
Okay.
Before that. So that's where we're at, spoiler-wise. Don't spoil it for us.
I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to say, we don't need to talk about it. No, I'm not going to talk about anything pertaining to like the plot line. Like, basically the basic plot line after the first episode. So you've seen the first episode. And there's not like they're really giving anything away in the first episode.
No.
It's just a lead in. It's basically like the
first episode's a very good tone setter.
Yeah, basically like your lead into then what I felt through the first 3 episodes is each episode is like its own individual episode that could be just a story in and of itself, but it's built into this overarching story, which is nice. So it's almost like each episode so far is about a different take on a Edgar Allan Poe short story or story. Now they do take a lot of liberties. It's very updated and it's really nothing to do with the original stories. But the premise
I wouldn't say nothing.
The premise is there. Like
premise
a lot of
So, all right, let me pause right there before you continue. What's your favorite Edgar Allan Poe short story?
The Mask of the Red Death.
Mask of the Red Death, I think, is mine too. But I also I love The Cask of Amontillado. Love that one. That one's great too. Do you have one?
I don't really remember a lot of Poe.
Raven?
I mean, I did a lot of Poe reading in high school, and I don't remember a lot of it.
That's okay. Do you guys remember?
Because I did like Pink Monkey Notes and Spark Notes.
Do you guys remember that when we couldn't come up with a topic and we decided that we were going to read The Raven?
I love that episode, by the by.
Yeah, that still exists on our podcast feed. If you haven't heard us do that.
We should do that again.
You want to cringe laugh at us, then go back and listen. It was actually pretty funny. I did the best I could trying to insert sound effects and music and everything else. And
Kat was great as
Kat going,
oh, yeah.
That was so stupid. I forgot about that.
Anyway, yeah, so we needless to say, we all love Poe. So Andrew, continue. I'm sorry.
So I had just recently watched on Hulu this show called Dope Sick, which is about the opioid epidemic, Purdue Pharma, their role in like the whole OxyContin.
Oh, right. You were telling me about this, yeah.
Ordeal.
Yeah.
So I like how in this new show, the family, the Usher family is basically Purdue Pharma's family, just like their Fortunato.
Right.
Fortunato Farmer, who was from Cask of Amontillado, right? Isn't that the guy's name?
Armadillo?
Amontillado.
Amontillado.
Armadillo, whatever. Jesus Christ, I can't talk.
Jesus Armadillo. Yeah, so it's
an interesting story because I had just seen that and I'm like, good, I want to see these people just have horrible endings, which is great.
Right.
It's fantastic. So what'd you think of it?
The Fall of the House of Usher.
So far, yeah.
There was a lot of interesting characters. I was really confused at first, being like, what is going on? And it just seemed like it was a very like prestigious family that had lots of like insecurities over certain things and kept very private. And you're kind of like, what's up with all this? And then you kind of see each family member's kind of personality, not really their whole story, but their like personality. And you're like, what connects all of these people together? Weird sex, pretty much. Like weird sexual things connect. Like it's there was so many like sex scenes and nudity and like all of these things that I was just like, in 2 episodes they have like those like underground clubs and like the weird, I was like, I said to Mike at one point, I'm like, Jesus, there's like a ton of like sex and boobs and like nudity in this whole thing. I was like, and every person has a weird sexual thing about them. It was just odd.
It seems intentional, I would say, through 2 episodes.
Well, also, are there 7 siblings?
So I would say there are 7 siblings because there are 8 episodes. And it seems like each episode is going to be devoted to one particular sibling, right?
I feel like each one of them is essentially going to be one of the 7 deadly sins. Because like so far through the first, I'm like, okay, I could.
Well, the first episode,
broke it down, you could probably figure out which ones were which. I'm just throwing that out there as a spitball, but.
Well, that makes sense because the first episode's about the dad. It's about Roderick, right? And the next 7 have to be about, or maybe there's 6. So maybe it's 1, 6, and then maybe one about that one character that's present throughout the entire show.
Which is.
Get a hint of throughout most episodes.
Looking good too.
I keep telling people I feel like that this show so far, from what I've seen, is kind of like but like a highbrow version of American Horror Story.
That's what you were saying before, yeah.
Yeah, with like the sex and the I know you were talking about. There's like, I mean, this is so much different than anything else that Mike Flanagan has done. This feels like very pulpy and trashy and like.
Yeah,
just like
trashy is a good way to.
Yeah, it's very trashy.
Yeah, very much
the trashiness.
So. Yeah,
I'm into it. I really like it a lot so far. And again, I love Poe. It's very loosely adapted, although I will adapted, but it's pretty brutal. And there's some good scares. There's plenty of. Had to dip out for a second. I don't know what you guys talked about, but there's definitely like a lot of good jump scares and a lot of. It's very gory, very sexy, very fucking. Off-brand for Mike Flanagan. Yeah. So cool.
That's good.
So safe to say, through 4 episodes, you're going to finish it. You're going to see it through to the 8th.
I will see this one through, baby.
Because I did hear you say
it's going to be one of those ones I got to finish by the end of the week.
Okay.
Because I said I was going to do it before, like we podcast.
I was going to say, I
watched 4 Thursday night and I haven't watched one since. I got to get back after it.
Yeah. We watched 2 one night. We haven't watched one since either. Because again, it was Bridget's birthday, then my birthday. So it's like we kind of ran out into a bunch of stuff. But
yeah, Saturday.
I did hear you say
Sunday was
football. Yeah, I know.
Yesterday was Monday.
We also had to watch the movie that we're going to talk about tonight. We watched on Sunday. But I was going to say, I was going to call you out because you were like, I'm definitely having this show finished before we podcast next.
Are you going to give
I thought about it, but then I realized it does me no good to be the only one that's finished an entire show. Because I can't talk about the episodes with anybody.
You know what? Maybe we won't finish it just so you can't talk about it.
That's why I'm waiting. I'm like, there's no point for me to rush through it and then be like,
I'm just going to keep you waiting and say, I'm never going to finish.
Then I'm just going to start talking about it.
From what I've learned about us, right? So Matt's not a big horror TV watcher.
No.
It's usually
us. Like me, even though I'm like, I feel like I don't watch nearly as much horror TV as you guys.
But horror TV, it's like an hour and a half an episode. It might as well be a movie.
Yeah, you're watching like
it's an hour.
Movies.
It's not even an hour.
You're watching like 10 movies or like 8 movies.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I'm telling you,
it's different though. It's a different type of watch.
You got to at least give The Haunting of Hill House a shot. if you like this show. So
let me finish this one first, and then
finish that first, and then get back to me. All right, so that's The Fall of the House of Usher, which is I'm sure you've heard of it. If you're listening to the show, you're a horror fan, you know it's the talk of the horror world right now. The new thing on Netflix that everybody's watching, The Fall of the House of Usher. So definitely check it out, guys. Let's talk about VHS 85. So, real quick. If you've listened to this show before, you know that I am the biggest proponent for the VHS franchise out of the four of us.
He loves VHS.
I love these movies. I wrote a big article last year where I ranked every single VHS segment. I did not update it for this latest movie, which is called VHS 85 and is now available to stream on Shudder. And I will give my thoughts at the end, but all I'll say leading off the top is I was supremely, supremely disappointed, and this might be one of the horror movies I was looking forward to the most this entire year because I love this franchise so much. So I was pretty bummed when I finished.
And your thoughts?
Well, no, I was going to say I was going to let you guys talk about it first, but unless
you're excited, you talk about it.
I just feel like, all right. So one of the cool things about VHS is it's always done a good job of being lo-fi, low budget, but doing cool creature effects and doing it I feel like one of the sole reasons that I love it is most of the segments are at least based in some sort of way in the supernatural, or it's monster stuff, or it's just weird stuff. This one, I feel like, was the most straightforward, aside from like one or two segments, maybe. Everything was just like killers from the point of view of the killers. And like some stuff that was like, okay, maybe this is in the background. Like, I just was disappointed. Like, nothing for me was like a home run. Everything was meh. I thought it was a meh movie.
Yeah.
It was like 3 out of 5.
It was 100% a meh.
Yeah, it wasn't like a huge, I mean, again, for me, hugely disappointing. But it wasn't the worst movie I've seen this year, by far. There was still some redeeming stuff. I have higher
expectations for these movies. Not that I love all of them, but I have higher expectations than what they gave. And I mean, people will be like, it's fine.
What's your favorite one?
I can't remember. It's probably from the first one, like the
first one's the best.
The girl that they meet at the bar, and she's like, a fucking vampire.
The succubus one.
Yeah, the succubus one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's great. That one was like generally scary.
Well, I meant like overall, like your favorite. It's tough to differentiate.
VHS 2, probably. I think the second one's really good.
That's the one that has Safe Haven.
Okay.
And the alien abduction one. A bunch of other stuff. So
I didn't really. VHS 99 was fine.
Yeah.
I feel like these last couple ones, I'm like, meh.
Kat, I would describe your fandom of VHS as like you usually you tolerate these movies with me because I put them on.
Literally,
like, yeah.
I would not watch them otherwise. Nope.
So you don't like them at all?
No.
Like no,
Mm-mm.
Like you don't find.
No.
Do you like horror shorts, like anthology stuff at all? Really, or no? Okay.
This doesn't have to do with being an anthology.
It's too much found footage.
I don't.
You think so?
Okay,
so that's what turns you both off.
You
think so?
Yeah.
Because I like some found footage, but it has to be one story. Because the story has to be really good to get me in. So if you give me 5 shorter stories that are just takes on other things, like I feel like the wraparound story is a Stranger Things ripoff.
Yeah.
Similar. The other one,
the one that
leads in, the one that has like 2 parts is probably the best one, but I have so many questions about that one. And
I see. I'm surprised to hear you say that. I hated that one.
I thought that was at least something.
I thought it was 2 things that connected that still made no sense, and they didn't explain anything. I was like,
well, yeah, that's it. They didn't explain anything. Did they explain anything with the earthquake one?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't explain anything anyway. No. The earth, it's like and it just sucks because there were so many good filmmakers in this one.
They just kind of were like, let's just record a bunch of shit.
Dream Kill, Techno God.
That one was decent. I think maybe I like that one better than the other one. Then
Techno God was the virtual reality.
That one I didn't.
So yeah, there was the wraparound segment, then the one on the lake, then there was the Mexican City earthquake one. Mm-hmm. Then there was Techno God, the virtual reality one, which led into the second part of the lake one. And then there was the one directed by Scott Derrickson, who directed Sinister, which was Dream Kill, the one with the found footage with the cops.
I'm surprised you didn't like the lake one because the visual, like practical effects, like when they're like got shot.
Oh, they were great.
They were fantastic. Like that made that. I think that, and the whole paranormal, like culty element to it too. I'm surprised you didn't.
They didn't expand on it enough.
Well, no, they don't have enough time. So that's what I'm saying. Like if you're gonna do a found footage movie, give me that.
So if you watch those 2 segments back to back, it's easily 40 minutes. You could have put in more background about the cult, about what the family does. All it was literally, hey, we killed people, and here's what happens. We have people, grow into our family by killing this number of people. They didn't explain the why. They didn't explain what it was, what the motivation
but I feel like
was.
They didn't have enough time. So if they had been given an hour and a half to develop that idea, and then you could talk about the water, what
maybe
it would at least a little more interesting.
But the family said nothing about the water resurrecting people. That was also
because they didn't know about it.
Right. So why match
that was the
those
revenge, which they sprayed him with the wall. Yeah, which they should have known about. If that's their lake with wasn't
they're a cult that kills people? Like, how do you not know about the resurrection lake that's right there?
Because there's some wacky cult.
So I guess we're into spoilers.
Yeah.
I mean, none of them have gotten shot in the lake before.
We're not doing an entire episode on VHS 85, but yeah, I mean, it was disappointed, but I don't know. I don't even know if I have a favorite segment. They were all meh. They were all right about the same thing for me. But they did announce, and Andrew, you and I were talking about this, I think yesterday. You think they're doing too much too fast, right?
Yeah,
too
many
sequels
how many?
too
Like
quickly?
3 in 3 years, or what is it?
Well, they're getting more success now being released on Shudder, so they're doing a new one each year. But again, it's an anthology thing, so it's new directors,
which
new
I like
stories,
it,
new
but
writers,
I feel like you're gonna the more time you have, you can really pick and choose what you want to do for your instead of just taking whatever's available.
Well, all I was going to say was, I guess the next installment has been announced, and it's going to be based on sci-fi horror. There's no
it's not a year
title yet.
Good. No, as long as it's not a year, can we do something other than the years now? The years have run their course.
The year things, I thought they were.
Well, 94 and 99 were both awesome.
No, I'm just saying 99 was meh.
Because you don't like Ozzy's Dungeon as much as I do. Yeah,
no, I do like the nostalgia part, but
that's okay.
That's probably why. Yeah, this one, I mean, I think it'd be cool, but guess what? There's no VHS tapes that came out in the 1920s, 1930s. If you did a VHS 1940,
do a fake guy,
or one during World War II, that would be a cool one with some weird monsters and stuff.
Yeah, that would actually be a really cool idea. I like that one a lot.
It's not a VHS because there's no. Well, there was.
All right, we don't need to keep talking about VHS. We're talking about a movie here, right?
Yeah. So VHS 85, the thesis of this diatribe is the fact that it's okay, not super great. Still watch it. It's on Shudder, and if you pay for Shudder, you're going to watch it anyway. Guys, anything else that we watched or rewatched before we get into tonight's movie?
I think we already clarified that.
Yeah, I think that's
just double checking. Wow, thank you very much. All right, why don't we pause a quick 90 seconds for a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
It's official. The critics' decision is in. Spooky World is spectacular. Enter the new black hole. If you dare. Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's America's horror theme park, Spooky World. Sleepy Clovers!
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's killer this year. Then right next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Great to know that you're still here with us. All right, guys, we're talking about Dark Harvest, which is a 2023 movie.
You said it incorrect. It's Dark Harvest.
Dark Harvest, oh, Dark fucking Harvest.
I hate you for that.
The worst. Well,
we're talking about fucking Dark Harvest.
So
I'm
sure we've talked about this in the podcast before, dude. But Kat's the only one actually from Boston.
She doesn't have that accent,
right?
No. Because if she did, I would probably not talk.
When she drinks enough Jameson, it comes out.
I'm joking.
A little bit of whiskey.
There's some Jameson upstairs. Do you want me to take a couple of shots? Does anyone down?
No, I don't want you to talk.
No one wants to get silly.
I don't want you to talk with your Boston accent.
Yeah,
it's bad news for me. But yeah, Dark Harvest, by the way, it's a 2023 movie that you can now rent on demand platforms for $5.99. I rented it in 4K for $5.99 on Google TV or YouTube TV, which is what we use. And I will say, so going into this movie, this was a Mike selection, by the way. We have no Matt here. And I wanted to pick something that was Halloween-ish, and I saw this. And going into it, I knew nothing, next to nothing about the entire thing, aside from the director, who is David Slade, who has put out some bangers between Hard Candy and 30 Days of Night.
Like the Coconut Bangers Ball?
The Coconut Bangers Ball, it's a wrap. Yes, that's correct. He did one of the segments in Nightmare Cinema. He did Black Mirror Bandersnatch. He did episodes of Breaking Bad, of Hannibal. So he has a pretty good directing pedigree, and I was excited to see what this was going to be. I knew it was set on Halloween, and I knew it was some sort of monster movie. And that's what I knew. And I think coming out of it, it was interesting, held my attention. Definitely gives off that Halloween vibe, and it's a pretty cool creature design. And it's much more violent and gory than I was expecting, which was a point in its favor. +1. Thought the choice to set the movie in the 60s, by the way, which this is all non-spoiler stuff, set in the 60s, 1963, I believe. It was different enough to be interesting, and they played on some, stereotypes of characters, which was interesting, but also ended up feeling cliche, I should say.
It's a little cheesy.
Yeah. This movie almost kind of reminded me, and Kat, and you tell me if I'm wrong here. This reminded me of like almost a horror version of the Hunger Games in certain aspects.
When you say that, yeah, it makes sense.
I thought, like,
in a sense, because they're not killing each other. Hunger Games are killing each other.
We're giving
for the final thing.
Now we're in spoilers.
Well, no, we're not going into exact
Don't talk
spoilers.
about that. Just as a comparison.
He asked me a question. I didn't even like.
He asked
No,
me a
you can
question.
answer without explaining the story.
He asked me
Okay,
a question.
it's kind of in the sense of it's a thriller in that sense where people run, but the premise isn't necessarily.
I was kind of getting Purge vibes.
Yeah,
Purge.
a little bit.
Yeah. It's
And
I get
Pumpkinhead
Purge.
vibes.
Well, that's
Yeah.
almost kind of a spoiler.
Yeah.
But anyway, so after watching it, I almost thought this is a cat movie, and
It was way a cat movie, way more than a Mike movie. There's no worms.
why did I select this? And then there was a lot of gore and violence, and I was like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. So, but ultimately, I feel like it just ended up being all right. I was not disappointed because I didn't really have many expectations, but I also wasn't like coming out of it super excited. I was just kind of like, it was all right. Like I wouldn't pay for it would be my final
So
opinion.
you regret your $5.99?
I wouldn't say I regret my $5.99. I would say it wasn't my favorite movie. And in retrospect, if I had to get my $5.99 back, I wouldn't have paid for it. I would have waited for it to come out on streaming services.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But it wasn't a horrible time. I wonder almost if my levels on expectations based on the director and, what it looked like. It looked kind of cool. I don't know. I mean, and I also felt, without getting spoilery, that the ending kind of left a lot of loose ends about like what is actually going on in this town.
And if there could potentially be a sequel.
Is that maybe what they're trying to do?
Maybe. But I feel like what they tell
Good enough
you,
for a sequel?
they do a lot of telling and not showing. They tell you a lot about what this town, not even a new town, what this town is about. They don't show you a lot of what the town is about. It's just kind of like, oh, here's what it is. And this is what happens every year on Halloween. And they don't really explain it a lot.
Yeah. There's no explanation.
I don't know. I mean, I
Well,
guess
how are you going to explain that?
there could have been something.
Such a
interesting.
wild
I have no idea.
thought. It's like, you can't explain that.
But anyway, so I would say, I guess my final point would be Dark Harvest. Okay, not great. I was disappointed slightly because I had like some expectations going into it, even though I didn't really know much about the movie. And I would say wait for it to come to Netflix or Amazon Prime Video or whatever else when it's streaming. Don't pay for it. So guys, interested to hear your thoughts.
Can I have an initial thought with just the opening scene?
You can have
including a spoiler
many
of just
initial
the
thoughts
opening
as you'd
scene.
like.
Like, can I just say
Sure,
that? Okay.
sure.
So my initial thought on the opening scene. Well, this is some shit I ain't never seen before. ... Cannibalism,
Are you
kids.
serious?
Yeah.
She does this all. This
That's
is her
my
shtick.
notes.
This is her thing. This is Kat's thing.
I
She
mean,
just reads her
you're
notes and then it
looking
explains
the
their notes.
first opening. You're
And you
like,
explain the
what the hell is going on?
Might be the first time you've actually read your notes in that.
It was
What
a
are you
little,
doing?
It's some shit I ain't never seen before, kid. Like
That's what was annoying about it.
There we go. Yep.
But good villain. Like the villain. Very cool. Like the design.
Sawtooth Jack, by the way.
Yep, STJ. That's my abbreviation for him.
Mm-hmm.
He had different are we in spoil? We're just saying.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
I liked it. I would have picked it myself if I had known about this movie. Was this when did this come out?
So it's been kind of in development hell for the better. So basically, it's based on a book that came out in 2006. It's now 2023, and it's been in development hell since 2006.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay.
So people have been trying to make a movie out of this for a long time.
I mean, I kind of get it. It's not great, so it makes sense that it.
I guarantee you. I guarantee the book is 10 times better.
I don't know.
It seems like one where the book would be better because they didn't explain anything, and if the book probably explains everything.
Yeah, I don't know much about the book. I don't know much about the plot of the book.
I'll challenge you to read that.
Yeah. Okay.
Fair enough. Read.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts.
Because I'm not.
Buy me the book. I'll read it. How about
that? Audiobooks. Can't you just listen to it?
Wait. Do you want me to listen to it or do you want me to read it?
Oh, that's not a book you read. That's a book you listen to.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Well, the book did win the Bram Stoker Award in 2006 for the best long fiction.
You probably will love that book.
So that's why I was saying it was so highly anticipated for a long time, because it did win a bunch of awards, and it was kind of this highly acclaimed book that people were waiting for a movie adaptation of. So I don't know.
I can see how they trashed that book up.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know enough about the book to be able to talk dangerously about it, so I can't say for sure. Andrew,
dangerously.
What'd you think about Dark Harvest?
So considering how much I hated the first half hour of this movie, I feel like it finished pretty strong for what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I was generally happy by the time this movie was over, because I wasn't like, oh, that wasn't just an absolute piece of dog shit. That was actually, it was up there with the type of movies like Happy Death Day. I could,
yeah.
I enjoyed it enough where it didn't bother me. It bothered me a lot at the beginning, but once I got into what it was actually going to be, and I accepted the fact that this isn't my type of movie, I enjoyed it. It was fine. It was good. I would recommend it to most, I don't want to sound like a dickhead, but like basic horror fans.
Sure,
good movie for you to watch.
Which there are different types of horror fans out there. So
cat types of horror.
Well, that's why I was like, this is totally a cat pick. Movie. It's not a Mike pick.
If Cat had picked this movie, I would have been like, I would have given it 2 thumbs way thumbs up, just because it was a cat pick. Right. And I would have been like, I didn't, because I immediately, this was a Mike pick. So I know. I have high expectations for but I have high expectations. The cat pick, I have no expectations. Wait a minute. So if it's any remotely even something like that is a movie that resembles a movie, I'm like, oh, okay. At least you didn't make me watch fucking Hocus Pocus or some stupid fuck movie.
Again, yet. But
never. You've done it once. There's no redos.
You could. It could just be on sometime when you're over here at some point, and you can add on to your watch list.
I'll just go inside or leave. I'm staying.
No, it's not that bad.
I know, it's fine.
Do you know what we should do? Oh,
what should we do?
Hubie Halloween. I mean, that's a good movie. I just thought of that. That would be really fun to cover.
I mean, we could talk about a lot. We have already.
Got a lot of things.
I still haven't seen
a lot about.
Oh, it's so good, and it's Boston. I mean, it's
and it's fucking Boston. That doesn't make me want to watch it.
Oh no,
it's not Boston. It's Salem.
It's Salem.
Yeah.
It's Massachusetts.
Do people talk like that?
They talk about Massachusetts.
They talk about Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, then of course
I got my rewards.
I'm pretty sure there's a Dunkin' Donuts joke in there somewhere. But,
oh, absolutely.
All right. So I guess now we're beyond spoiler territory. So we're going to talk spoilers from this point on for Dark Harvest.
Dark Harvest.
You approve? Okay. Good.
Approve.
Not that we necessarily need to shout out any of the spoilers right away, but I mean, I said it before. I just think I was the most disappointed in where it ultimately went with the story that we were given. I was looking to see what was going to happen beyond the town. Why the ritual of killing Sawtooth Jack existed in the first place. Why do they need to lock down the town? Yeah. What's beyond the town? Why can't people leave the town, like you said? So
there's a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah, it was an 1.5-hour movie. I bet you the director's cut, which is probably closer to 2 hours, maybe a little bit over, probably explains a lot of that stuff. But okay, why not tell us? I feel like it was very vague. And I'm not the type, I feel like in most cases, ambiguous endings, I'm okay with. This one, I was like, I need to know what's going on here. I don't need to know anything else besides what's going on here.
At least in 30 Days of Night, you know why the vampires are at that town.
Oh yeah,
it's dark. You're like the whole time.
It's established up front. Yeah,
obvious. This one, you're like, why is it this town? What did this town do? Did this town commit with some sort? I bet you if you went back in time, there was some like, oh, they killed witches in the name of, and they cursed the town.
There's no background.
But that, like, you could have done something so basic to just give the background of why the town is the way it is. Instead of, well, this has been the way it's been for hundreds of years.
The only thing,
scarecrows come, or like Pumpkinhead people coming aloud filled with candy and you stab them, whatever the fuck's going on.
The only thing
like when they injured them, there was candy bars. It's like, what the fuck does that happen?
And how do the winners of the prior year turn into Sawtooth Jack? Like, what happens?
Well,
they just get buried in the ground and that happens?
So, no, it's like the guild and that farmer guy. Like,
what's up with the guild?
Exactly. What's up with
the guild,
like,
it's something happened a long time ago where they didn't have corn and they had to like kill someone's baby and they were like, you killed a baby, and then they had corn the next year. They're like, all right, let's turn this baby into some weird pumpkin monster. And then we have to chase around a kid every year
discount
as a sack. But also so this movie turned on its head gore-wise, because the first, like the initial scene that you were talking about, that was they kill the thing and it's just I feel like it's a bunch of candy bars and stuff coming out, and none of the other kids are dead. Everyone seems very happy. But then this year comes and the kids are just killing each other. They're killing store owners. Yeah. Like that guy that on the book, give me a sandwich. Why are they ravaged? By the way, how long has it been since they've eaten? Like 3 days? Is that what they do? They starve them for 3 days?
No water, no food, and you're peeing in your room. Yeah.
I could see that making somebody
crazy.
So they just essentially make
no
these
food,
kids
no
crazy.
water.
But I also want to
the butcher owner, I'm pretty sure was one of Falcone's like low life henchmen in The Dark Knight or Batman.
I can tell you his name.
Yeah, you know the guy I'm talking about.
He's also in Seven. His name is Mark Boone Jr.
Yeah, they got
he was the FBI agent that gave Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt the file on the people that rented the FBI books, and he was also a big character in Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, for sure.
Well, also the dad was the guy from Twister. I'm like, I know that guy.
That's right.
He was Lawrence or whatever his name is.
Yep.
He was in Saving Private Ryan too. He was like wicked young, like very mousy looking guy. But I was like, as soon as I turned on, I was like, I fucking know this guy.
Yeah,
Daniel Faraday.
The guy, Faraday from Lost. That's who Pat knows him as. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's his name. What's his real? Jeremy Davies.
Jeremy Davies. And wait, so he's the one that basically like he sees his buddy getting killed and he like sits there and just like cries.
In Twister?
No, in Saving Private Ryan.
In Saving Private Ryan, yeah.
In Twister.
I feel like he does the same thing in Twister because I know he's part of like he's like the Bill Paxton crew.
Wait.
So I feel like he's one of the guys.
He's the guy that he hides in the car and Helen Hunt's like trying to get him out. And he's like, no, just leave.
Yeah, he's one of the bad guys. She's trying to help. Yeah, Mouse. He's
he's not a bad guy.
He's not a bad guy.
He's on the Bill Paxton team.
He's with Dusty.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
I was like, wait, I forgot.
He's on the Bill Paxton.
Oh yeah,
Helen Hunt team, not just the Bill Paxton.
No.
He's on the Bill Paxton.
He's not on the Dr. Lawrence from Saw team. He's on the Bill Paxton.
Can we figure something out right now?
What?
While we're recording, can we figure out if it's Carrie Yules or it's Carrie Elways? Can somebody Google the pronunciation?
I thought it was Carrie Yules.
Carrie Yules.
Who is that?
But you also call Joaquin Phoenix Joaquin.
Okay,
Phoenix.
That's incorrect.
That is absolutely incorrect.
At this point, I do that on purpose, though.
Well, yeah.
Joaquin.
Do you?
He's a queen.
Who am I looking at?
CARE2LES, I believe, is the name that it's spelled.
I'd say Yules. Oh, Dr. What's his face? Dr. Gordon.
Yeah, from
Dr. Gordon. Yes, he's in everything. He's in
Princess Bride,
Robin Hood, Men in Tights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
we're also not even talking about the same movie.
I know. We're going to.
We're on
after Kat brings us up. We're going to bring it back.
What did you say was?
No, it's
Carrie Elways.
It's Elways.
Carrie Elwes.
Elwes. Not Yules.
Elwes.
How about that?
When did he change that? Because that's what they always used to say his last name. Or maybe did anybody ever say his last name?
Why don't you?
I don't believe.
Write a letter
to
Carrie Elways.
I have as much a problem with that as I do with Salvin Ahmed. It's not Salvin Ahmed. It's H-A-H-M-E-D.
If the person prefers to have their name pronounced like that, what's the problem?
And it's not spelt that way.
I know.
So
that's annoying.
Like me being like, my name is Word New.
All right.
You'd be like, what?
So anyway, in relation to Dark Harvest, guys, I was talking to Matt about this yesterday. This continues to be such a down year for horror, I think, as opposed to last year, which was really, really good. We had a lot of really good horror movies last year. And I feel like it's been very tough for me to.
I also haven't gotten into the time of year where I just bang through
everything. Yeah, I know.
November through December is just watch.
Oh, yeah.
Once we pass October and we're kind of sprinting towards our year end 200th episode, by the way, which will be our top 10 horror movies of the year / 200th episode celebration.
Boop, boop.
I would ask you, Dark Harvest or Evil Dead Rise?
Evil Dead Rise.
Clearly, Evil Dead Rise. Dark Harvest or Outwaters?
Dark Harvest.
Outwaters.
I would say Outwaters as well.
But I had to think about it, which is bad.
Yeah, I know, right? Anybody else seen Unwelcome besides me?
No.
Oh, which one was that?
It's the Irish horror movie that was on Shudder.
Yeah,
I would say Unwelcome is better than this.
Yeah, with the fucking weird. Yeah, I talked about that movie.
Yep, you did.
That was I would say
better
Unwelcome.
than this.
Yeah.
Renfield or Dark Harvest?
Renfield.
Renfield.
Oh, you gotta see Renfield.
Not even close.
That's on Peacock, right?
It's so good. Get that on your list. Get that on your
It's
watch.
very good. Andrew, I can't. Yeah, you'll
set an alarm. Set an alarm.
I have a hard time.
Set an alarm for tomorrow.
Me and Nick Cage have a hard time.
Catherine, Andrew, Cocaine Bear or Dark Harvest?
Cocaine
Bear.
Same.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not even close.
Wait, but Nick Cage is not in Redfield, is he?
He's Dracula in Renfield.
Oh.
Like the main
villain?
What are you even talking about?
Well, I just think of the guy who plays Renfield. What's that guy?
Let's just move on to a topic that you can comment on. Catherine, Knock at the Cabin.
It's not Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, Knock at the Cabin all day.
Or Dark Harvest. I say knock at the Cabin.
Knock at the Cabin.
I say knock at the Cabin all fucking day.
Knock at the Cabin.
Guys, remember a movie called Malum or Malum that we covered earlier this year?
Yeah, I do.
That
vaguely.
Or Dark Harvest.
I barely remember that movie.
I'm going to say Malum.
What was that about?
It was about the female police officer in an old jail where it was haunted by demons.
What was the one that it was based off of? What was the name of that movie?
I don't know.
Oh, we talked about that. The other one was way better.
Does that matter in your opinion of between this?
Yeah, because I think the other one was better than Malum.
I'm going to say Dark Harvest because, I don't really remember Malum.
All right, I say Malum. That's fine. Andrew, a movie you and I have only seen, 65 or Dark Harvest?
65.
I like 65 better.
Yeah. Really?
It was like, but it's not even a horror movie.
Okay, fair enough.
I just liked it better because there was dinosaurs.
Guys, Scream 6 or Dark Harvest? That's close.
Have I seen
I'm going to go Dark
6?
Harvest there for me.
See that?
I'm going to go
I didn't
Scream
see
6.
that. I haven't seen that. So
the
I
new
can't
one.
judge.
The new
I mean,
Scream.
you hate Scream.
So I would say Dark Harvest if I had to guess.
Boston Strangler or Dark Harvest?
Boston Strangler.
Same.
Yeah.
Down. Way better.
Yep. Megan or Dark Harvest?
Didn't see it.
How are you the only one that hasn't seen Megan, by the way? Because Andrew and I both have.
Matt had too.
Matt had too.
We did an episode on it. Were you not on that episode?
No, we didn't do an episode on Megan.
No, we talked about it though. It was and we talked extensively about how bad it was.
I'm going Dark Harvest.
Yeah, I would go Dark Harvest.
Drawing a line in the sand. Skinamarink or
Dark Harvest.
Yeah, absolutely. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, or Dark Harvest.
Have you seen it yet?
Still haven't.
Isn't it streaming?
I believe it's on Amazon.
I think it's on
Prime.
HBO.
I don't know.
We're almost in November, Kat, and then we can start doing our own.
Gonna watch it.
Yes.
Then we can just pick movies.
Anyone else see Bad Things on Shudder besides me?
No, you said it was terrible.
This is better than Bad Things by far. Anyone else see The Price We Pay, which is a movie I talked about in the podcast a couple weeks ago?
I haven't seen that.
Price We Pay was better than this. No doubt about it. Guys, VHS 85 or Dark Harvest?
Dark Harvest.
Going VHS 85 there. Sorry. No One Will Save You.
No.
That's the Hulu alien abduction movie.
I don't think I saw that.
I didn't either, so
I'm going Dark Harvest there. Yep. So anyway, Jesus, when I listen back to or I look at all of these titles back to back to back to back, I'm like, oh my god, this is.
Well, you didn't bring up Last
Can we talk more about spoilers with this movie?
Voyage of the Last Demeter or Dark Harvest? Voyage of the Last Demeter was way better.
No, I'm going to go Dark Harvest for that.
Okay.
I hated that.
What else did you have besides that?
Oh no, I thought you were naming every one. I was like, we saw that one.
Somehow I must have omitted the last Voyage of the Demeter. All right, guys.
Talk to Me. Have you seen that yet?
I still have not seen Talk to Me. That's why I didn't include it. I'm talking about the movies that I've seen personally.
Okay.
That's everything listed that I've seen personally that I can comment on.
Okay.
Guys, so if you had to guess, what is the number one most profitable horror movie of 2023? Now that we're done talking about what we've seen, what have the most people seen?
Scream 6.
Absolutely. Yeah. Andrew is 1,000% correct. How much money do you think it's made, Andrew?
See, I'm terrible at this.
$2.6
Over
million.
or under? Over or
Like
under?
$85 million billion.
Over or under 100 million?
Under.
Over.
Andrew is correct.
Over.
You are wrong.
I said $2.6 million.
Scream 6
That's not
is the top
That's a
grossing horror
bust.
movie of this year. Made $108.1 million.
In comparison, what did Barbie make?
I can tell you that.
$18 billion.
Hold on 1 second.
Brilliant?
Brilliant.
What's a brilliant?
Let me ask you this.
I think,
What's a
I think Oppenheimer
I-
just passed
I
$1
have
billion
both.
worldwide, right?
Would it make sense to talk about the regular box office first and then horror box office?
Just to
Why
put
don't
it
we
in
do that?
comparison.
So Barbie, obviously, the number one grossing movie of the year.
Wait, let me guess.
How much?
900. It made over $1 billion, I thought.
857,000.
This is the United States
United States.
domestic
Million.
box office.
That had to be like 650 billion. Something.
800
No, million. Not
857
8,000 trillion people.
dollars.
650 million.
50 million
Let's
for
see how
Andrew
far
and
away.
857.
857 million for
Million.
Kat.
Yeah.
Barbie has made $635.2 million.
Oh, I was over.
Wow. I was over too, so we both lost.
Do you guys know what the number 2 movie is this year?
Oppenheimer.
No.
You would be incorrect, sir.
It
would be the
is,
Super
Oh.
Mario
It's gonna be a Marvel-
Brothers.
Oh,
That
Mario
makes sense. I was also saying there's probably a Marvel movie. In there.
$574.9 million.
I still haven't seen that.
And a Marvel movie.
Number 3, by the way, nobody would guess it. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, an animated movie, made $381.3 million. Marvel movie at number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, $358.9 million. Number 5, Andrew. Oppenheimer, number 6, with $298.1 million. Nobody would ever guess this.
But it's also eclipsed
It's a
billion
Disney
worldwide.
movie. Anyone have an idea?
This movie?
We don't have to like dwell on it for a long time.
I don't
It's
know.
a Disney remake of an early 90s
Little Mermaid?
animated
Ariel.
the
Oh, yeah.
Little Mermaid classic. Yep. Followed by Avatar, The Way of Water,
Oh,
which
right.
nobody cares about.
Oh, I wanna see that.
$283 million.
Well,
Another Marvel
283
movie
million
here.
people do.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, $214.5 million.
I couldn't think of
Followed
a dumber name for a movie than that.
by Andrew, John Wick, Chapter 4, $187.1 million. That's quite a drop-off between 214 and 187. Number 10, Sound of Freedom, which I believe that's a movie that exists that a lot of people have seen.
Are we
Apparently,
going to talk spoilers about Dark Harvest? I really want to share my notes.
we're going to talk about Dark Harvest.
We're just keep talking about other movies. I want to talk about Dark Harvest.
And it's fun stuff, but I mean, like, okay, cool. We'll get off that. So anyway,
What are we
all right,
doing?
Scream 6, obviously top grossing horror movie of the year, followed by Megan, The Nun 2, Insidious, The Red Door, Evil Dead Rise, Talk to
See,
Me.
I haven't seen Insidious, The Red Door.
I haven't either.
No.
Or Talk to Me.
I like
Exorcist, Believer, The Boogeyman, Saw X, and The Pope's Exorcist. Those are the top 10 horror movies.
Justin was very high
the box
on
office.
The Boogeyman. He said it was really good.
okay. I gotta check it out. But
For a PG-13 movie?
so that's that, and that's that. So all right, so talk spoilers about Dark Harvest. Kat, lead it off. Go ahead.
Read your notes real quick.
Maybe don't cough and just talk
Sorry, I'm
about,
sorry.
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 Sorry, I'm sorry.
So Sawtooth guy.
Sawtooth Jack. name of villain.
He's a good villain.
Sawtooth Guy. I mean, I like that. That would have been a lot better if they were just like, look out, it's Sawtooth Guy. He's like, "Rah."
I like. Can we talk about his character? So I like
Sure.
how his head kind of moves like a raptor in certain scenes. Like, he's
I mean, I guess
It's
it
like-
kind of
it
looked
kinda
like
does.
a raptor.
like in certain scenes, like he would just. I wrote this down as we were watching it. He looks so strange too with just jeans on sometimes. Like he had like
A
skeleton.
lot of men look strange. with jeans
Alien.
on.
No,
I thought he
he had,
looked
like
svelte.
he had like alien, but sometimes so like when he was going down that the
bulkhead
the
door, like
bulkhead,
into
yeah.
the like.
He didn't have jeans
shelter.
on then. He looked like an alien. Like that was totally
Yeah.
alien.
I don't remember
weird.
him wearing jeans. When was he wearing
He
jeans?
at one point he had jeans on.
Maybe that was well, you know why he was wearing jeans. 'Cause-
Well, yes, because he had the belt that was his brother's.
yeah.
Then
So it's
eventually
like he
they
all of a
figured
sudden
it
just
out.
put on clothes for the plot of the movie.
He could have.
Seems kind of weird.
That's a little loophole in there.
Yeah, they kind of just like they're like, well, all of a sudden he's just gonna wear his brother's clothes, and he's like, wait,
Wait,
why?
how does he have my belt? That's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it seems like they just Poor writing.
Yes, but overall, I didn't feel like I ever got sick of looking at him. Like it wasn't one of those villains that was like, they didn't put him on the screen too much, but focused on a different aspect of him. It was either it was like his body when he was going down that bulkhead and then all of a sudden the blood. That actually reminded me of It, where it was just like the blood just like spewed out of the bulkhead. It was just like this big like of like blood.
See, I don't know if you can call him a villain though.
Well, he's the villain. He's the villain of the story.
It's a monster. It's not a villain. He's like Frankenstein.
Well,
he's like Frankenstein's monster. It's not his fault that he's a monster.
But we don't know enough about him.
He's not a villain. It's not a villain. He didn't do anything. The town is the villain. The parents are the villains.
Okay. Fair.
Sawtooth Jack is not a villain. He is a monster, but he's not the villain. The town's the villain.
Okay.
The parents are the
villains.
Fair enough. Stop calling poor Sawtooth Jack.
All right. I was saying that I liked the visual effect of him, that every time they showed him, it wasn't like for too long. And they focused on different features of him each time they showed him. One time he had pants on. The other time they really showed his spine when he was like going down into the bulkhead with all the blood that came up. But I didn't really get sick of looking at him. Like, they showed a decent amount of him, but I didn't get sick of being like I didn't get to the point where I wasn't scared of him.
I mean, I'd say you actually see him in a very quick flash within the first 2.5 minutes of the movie. Oh, yeah. When the first character gets killed. Actually, Andrew, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you know what this movie has in common with your favorite movie, Phantasm?
What, the main character dies like immediately?
Has a person peeing their pants as they're about to die in this movie. Because the first character pisses himself because he's so afraid of Sawtooth Jack.
This is true. I would be afraid.
So
same.
I also wouldn't be out there. I'd be like, nah, you're gonna have to just kill me.
Further cat notes.
Yes.
The cops kind of have that vibe as like the crazy cop from like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because he, especially at the end when he's like cornering the kid and he's like, that cop's like crazy. Like he has something.
When he was in the school doing,
he's the villain.
No,
sorry, he's the villain.
Yeah, he's a giant.
He was like out there. It was wild. But then
out
there was a lot of questions, like we talked about, unanswered questions. Like, so this, Sawtooth guy, Jesus Pumpkin Man, grows into a cross every year, and they let this happen. Like, can you cut this guy down? Is it possible to stop this? Do they not want to stop this? I don't really understand. But clearly, when it's like a pumpkin man that's either put up there, we don't really know. Like, there's so many.
Yeah, we talked about that, which is I think was weird that they don't really explain because this
movie could have used
Sawtooth Jack is put up on the Scarecrow cross every year, but it's not explained how.
Well, you see bits of that
people
farmer
are resurrected into
that's putting him up and like carving the pumpkin and putting it on his head. Like, you see bits of that happening, but it's not actually.
I think they just wait till they're dead and the soil has consumed them. And then
he was buried alive too.
Yeah,
does that have anything to do with it? So
maybe
it's the ground.
Maybe they have to consume their fear. So that's your fear, because being buried alive would be
it's everybody's fear. I mean, no one wants to
be being
buried
eaten
alive.
Because then you're stuck with a pumpkin head.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool though. Like the end of that movie was pretty sweet. I like the ending.
Yeah.
I did like the ending when you're like, oh, he's gonna get him, and then he just like
I'm gonna get him.
It's like Casino, and they just shove him in a dirt pit at the end. You're like, oh, you didn't get away?
Yeah.
But guess who did? Big surprise. But it's a good movie. I really liked like the whole scene when they let all the kids loose and they're just like wild animals,
ravenous.
Just, like you're like, oh, they're hungry, and then you're like, no, they're just gonna murder each other. When the kid's like, I'm winning it this year, and the guy's like, oh yeah, and he's like, yeah, stop me, and he just like splits his head. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, that was.
I was like, okay, that kid gets his head cut in half by Sawtooth Guy.
Sawtooth Guy. Yep.
But like,
there was some cool deaths. There was some very good deaths.
When you don't know what's gonna happen, like obviously we all went into this blind. And I'm seeing this opening scene of like kids just running around, like being absolutely maniacs. And I'm like, are they cannibals? Are they zombies? Like you've just like a million questions about like, what the hell is going on?
I thought it was a great concept for a movie if they had time or the willingness
it wasn't
to develop, to tell you the whole story. Like they could have used that opening scene that they used to show you the year prior to show you like 100 years prior.
Or
Like,
even have a
do like
thing
something
with
from
a-
100 years ago, like when it for the first, like whatever, the first harvest or whatever, and just show that. And then you'd be like, oh, okay, this has been going on a long time. There's something weird, and then show like some baby or whatever.
Right. And you knew there was something because they said like when it didn't happen.
That's where you
that
get the
one
Pumpkinhead
time.
vibes. Like Pumpkinhead has like that like deep backstory to it.
Right.
Well, maybe not deep backstory, but it's a
I mean,
little bit more.
Pumpkinhead is an infinitely better movie than this.
Oh,
not
yeah,
even
I love
close.
Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Guys,
Yeah.
if I had to ask you, name me the name of the park that has at Disney World that has the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, Star Tours, and the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular.
Hollywood Studios.
What did it used to be
MGM.
called? Right. MGM. Disney MGM
Is that
Studios.
really a trivia question? That wasn't hard.
Well, no. I'm going to, again, arrive at a point here. Dark Harvest is the final film released through Metro Goldwyn Mayer, also known as MGM Studios, before the founding of Amazon MGM Studios.
Wow.
Amazon now has their name in front of MGM Studios.
Correct.
We're all fucked.
Isn't that incredible?
That's insane.
That is absolutely
That it's
wild.
now Amazon MGM.
No, it's
MGM,
Hollywood
the
Studios.
same company that owns the casinos on Las Vegas,
Oh.
Is now owned
by
By
Amazon.
by Amazon.
Isn't
Well,
that
that's
fucking
a
wild?
big chess move right there.
I just feel like the first thing I think of, obviously, with MGM is Disney MGM Studios.
Well, what's good about that
Yeah.
is, well, now every Amazon, you're going to get every MGM movie now.
True. Probably all the Bond movies.
True,
That'll
true.
be true. That'll be a thing.
You're going to get like Thursday Night Football mixed with like MGM movies. It's going to be like Toy Story Thursday Night Football something pretty soon.
Toy Story.
With Toy Story animation. I will say that the
That
technology
fucking
was
sucked.
interesting for that, but it sucked for a watching experience. It was not.
As a person
that
that
Not
wants
good.
to just watch a football game, that was terrible.
Yes.
But then again, I'm not a child, so.
As the person that cares about us, that was also not great. That's okay. Guys, anything else we have to say on Dark Harvest before we log off for the night? Go get our donkeys. Maybe fucking have.
I'm not getting donkeys at night, kid.
I'm not smoking.
You can't have
again, man.
caffeine at night. You stay up all night.
No, it's not true. No,
That's
it's
true.
not true.
It's true. Except for espresso machines.
Dunkin' Donuts coffees, by the way, do not keep you up. They're essentially water. So that's the thing.
No.
You're just ordering the wrong coffee. You got to get a large hot Americano with a shot of espresso. And
I don't order.
a little bit of oat milk and a couple sugars, and it's
Have a parliament, take a dump.
Maybe get yourself
Make up. Yeah, it's pretty much my
original
routine.
donut,
Yeah.
an old
Well,
fashioned.
Oh, I had a maple cream donut
Maybe
in
a
Vermont.
butter
So
crunch. You got any butter crunch?
the only place you can get it, by the
donuts?
way, because you can't get a maple cream donut in
No,
Boston.
no, you
in
can't.
Boston.
You can only get a Boston cream donut.
That's
In
right.
Boston.
Yeah, you
Dude,
get
can
a,
you put some jizz in this
Yeah,
donut?
You gotta
I
go
love
to
it.
Vermont to get the
Yeah.
maple cream
dude,
donuts.
you get the maple cream up there. It's like somebody maple creamed in your mouth. It's fucking right.
I
You
maple
fucking
creamed your
don't.
mother last
I
night.
maple fucking creamed everybody. I rubbed my fucking junk in a bunch of maple syrup, and then I creamed in your mother's face.
Then I let like my old pup dog come over and be like, "Hey there, buddy, why don't you lick on these nuts?"
Hey, Boston humor for you right here on America's Hometown Horror Podcast. All right, why don't we fucking quit while we're ahead? Jesus Christ. Oh,
Like,
guys.
people from Boston can't even do Boston accents. Yes, I'm
I know,
aware.
I know,
Thank
I
you.
know.
I can still make fun of it.
Well, as a reminder, if you've enjoyed this episode of America's Hometown Horror, thank you, first and foremost. Second most, leave us a review, preferably 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We would certainly appreciate it. It helps the podcast grow. Helps the podcast bro. I should say,
Bruh.
bruh.
Helps the podcast, bruh.
Hey, the cider donut
Hey,
cider
bruh.
here. It's
Yeah.
all right.
You want some
Yeah.
Swiss chicken,
I'll
bruh?
drink it though.
We're pretty much everywhere, wherever you listen to your podcast, so go listen there. And hey, keep on rocking spooky season, and we will talk to you at some point soon, and we hope to see you at Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
And
Good evening.
Peace.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and I want to say thanks again for listening to another episode of our show. If you're interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I'd highly recommend you check out the shows from our friends over on the Inebriart Podcast Network. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find shows from Inebriart, the Old Colony Cast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends and Retro Redoctopus, so head on over and give them a listen.